Hi, I'm here from Rebuilding Society. Welcome to our video series in which we look at the various tools available to our lenders. In this video, we will be looking at the terms and factors we need to calculate the all-important net return figure on a platform such as ours. We will be looking at how returns are calculated and we'll slowly add the layers of complexity until we reach the level we need for a full net return calculation. All transactions can be put into one of three categories: gains, losses, and asset conversion. Gains are anything that increases the net worth of your account. The most common examples on our platform are interest, cashback incentives from the company, and trading microloans at a profit. Losses are anything that decrease the net worth of the account. The most common examples being fees, bad debt, or when microloans are traded at a loss. Asset conversion is where the net worth is unaffected. For example, when you invest funds or receive capital back, the amount you own is unchanged, only the form it takes changes, in this case, cash or loans. Let's start with a basic return figure on a simple loan. To calculate a basic return figure, we need to know how much capital, funds, were invested and how much gains we received over the period. For example, if we invest £100 and receive £10 in profit, we have made 10% of our original investment as gains, giving us a flat rate of 10% return. Now, if we look at the above being over a 6-month period, we can annualize the figure. Annualizing the return is stretching or compacting the time period to 12 months so that we can get a uniform figure to compare with others. In this case, we assume that if we gain £10 in 6 months with £100, we would gain £20 in 12 months. This would be a £20 gain from £100 over our year, or 20%. This would mean that we have a 20% return rate on this investment. When we look at the figures of money paid out by an investment, we call it the gross rate of return. Gross, in this context, means that it does not take into account the incidental costs or gains. Now, if the investment has no fees or other gains, the net return will be the same as the gross return. But should they exist, we take these into account when calculating our net return. In this context, net means after all relevant gains and losses. So, taking our example, let's add a £1 per month fee for using the platform we're investing in and a 1% incentive cashback plan, where for every £100 we invest, we are given £1 back as cash. That's 1%. First, we calculate our net gains, the total gains taking everything into account. The calculation for our net gains would be £10 minus £6 plus £1, which is equal to £5. A £5 return over 6 months by employing £100 of capital is a 5% flat net return. If we annualize this by taking these figures and stretching them to cover a 12-month period, we would have a £10 return on our £100 capital and an annualized net return rate of 10%. The next layer of complexity is that we are not calculating the return of one loan, but multiple, all with different terms, capital, and returns. To get the platform-wide net return, we need to know what the capital and gains are for each loan and over what period of time. Say we have 3 loans in the last 12 months. The first is £100 over 3 months, giving a £2 net return. The second is £200 over 4 months, giving a £5 net return. The third is £700 over 6 months, giving a £68 net return. At first glance, this could look straightforward. £1,000 loaned and the annualized returns would be £8, £15 and £136, giving a total of £159 for the year or a 15.9% net return. This figure would only apply if you had all 3 loans at once and then only for the 3 months of all 3 loans paying out. If we were looking at this at the end of the year, we can see that these were the only loans we made that year. Then, depending on when we did the calculation, the result would be very different. In the first 3 months, we get the 15.9% annualized net return figure. If we take the calculation after 6 months, when we know that all loans have stopped paying out, we have a gains figure of £75 over 6 months with £1,000 capital employed, or 15% net return. If we take the calculation at the end of the year, when we know that no further loans were made, we have a gains figure for the year of £75 from our £1,000 capital employed, giving a 7.5% return. This is what we call cash drag. You can see that if we had reinvested when each loan was paid back into a similar loan, that we would have finished with a 15.9% return for the year. But by keeping our funds in cash and not reinvesting them, our returns figures have dropped significantly to 7.5%. Cash drag lowers the net return figure over time if users do not reinvest, as it keeps the capital employed high without adding gains. The next thing we'll be looking at will be compounding. This has the opposite effect to cash drag. It provides gains without affecting the capital employed. Looking at our first year, with our 3 loan example again, let's change the dates that we loaned the funds to reduce the cash drag and to see the effect. The first is £100 in January over 3 months, giving a £2 net return. The second is £200 in January over 4 months, giving a £5 net return. The third is £700 in May over 6 months, giving a £68 net return. Before, we needed to deposit £1,000 in January, setting our capital employed figure for the year at £1,000. This time, we only need £300 to start in January. When we get to May, we have the £300 capital back that we can invest in the third loan, so we only need an extra £400. As you can see, we have now only put £700 in rather than the £1,000, and £400 of that we only deposited in May. When the capital invested figure changes during the year, we have to look at each period separately before taking an average. The first period is January to April, in which time we had £300 capital employed for £7 gains. This is an annualized net return of 7%. £7 in 4 months, which is 21 over the year. £21 from £300 is 7%. The second period is May to December, in which time we have £700 invested and £68 gains. £68 over 8 months is an average of £8.50 per month, which is £102 for the 12 months in the year. £102 from 700 is 14.57%. We take an average annualized net return figure by looking at both periods and then weighting them by length. 7% for 4 months and 14.57% for 8 months gives us an average of 12.05%. We can see that by reinvesting, reducing cash drag, and keeping the capital employed lower, we are getting a much better average annualized net return. However, the above example has an error in it. When we make the loan in May, we have the £300 loan back, but we also have the £7 gain from the first 2 loans. This means we don't need the full £400 extra, just £393. This changes the second period's return rate to 14.72%, £102 gains from £693, which in turn brings up our average annualized net return up to 12.15%. This might seem like a small change, but remember, after this year, you will have the original £7 gains and also the new £68 as well. This means your capital employed on the platform is £693, but the amount of funds that you can lend is £768. If, in the next year, there was a loan where you could receive a 10% annual return for a 12-month loan, if we invest the full £768, we get £76.80 back from our original £693 capital employed. That is an 11.08% return, and over time, this just becomes more and more significant. So now we know about the theory and terms that underlie the way the platform calculates its annual net return figure. In our next video, we can move on to the calculation itself.